Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But inside is so delightful.
It's Christmas in July.
Let's review.
Let's review, let's review.
Oh, let's review. I'm Batman.
Season 2!
Bomb.
Bum.
All right, how you doing, BlueDragonFive? Got to change it up. Got to change it up. Like my Batman. I'm not putting much effort into it. I'm Batman.
Yeah,
it's like very basic level Batman. It's like, I got a growly voice. I'm Batman.
I'm Santa Bat.
I'm Santa Bat. I'm Santa Batman. Delivering the presents to all the kitties.
Okay.
All right. So we're here with the second episode of Christmas in July. We'll be doing both the second and third episode tonight. And how you feeling, BlueDragonFive? This is the Batman. This is your thing. This is your avenue, your wheelhouse. So you should just guide us through this one.
Sure. So, folks, kind of like last year, we covered a Batman and/or superhero-related Christmas special, and we thought we'd do it again. And what better than, again, Batman, the creme de la creme of superheroes, and with actually really interesting Christmas special from Batman Brave and the Bold, the animated series that not directly, but definitely followed kind of the big shadow cast by Batman the Animated Series, and did a really good, distinct flavor for its series. And this episode's called "The Invasion of the Secret Santas."
Oh yeah. So this is my first episode of Brave and the Bold, and I gotta say, man, I really enjoyed it. The only thing I really knew about this show was that it was offbeat, and if I remember correctly, it incorporated a lot of Silver Age characters.
Yes. Let me just give you not a lot of background for the episode itself. I want to give you a background just kind of what the premise of Brave and the Bold is.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, Tiki, and then those who may not have watched the show, it's a really good show. I recommend it. Essentially, this show didn't have a Bruce Timm behind me. Paul Dini wrote a few episodes, but again, it's not Batman the Animated Series, so it's not as dark and serious as you probably gathered looking at this. But it's not entirely.
No, this isn't as dark as Batman the Animated Series.
But also, it's not just purely campy either. It's a real self-referential, it's a loving look at the history of DC Comics. Essentially, that's what the show is. It pretty much takes the comics, and the show kind of morphed. It's funny. There's a Batman show before this. They did the same thing. They tried to be something different, and in the end, they kind of morphed into kind of more traditional Batman because they ran out of ideas, and it still worked pretty well. But this show kind of stuck to their guns more. But they at the beginning, they didn't want to bring in the major guys like Wonder Woman or Superman at first. They wanted to explore again kind of the Silver Age, but also just all realms of the DC universe in the show. Like any realm you didn't see in Justice League the Animated Series, which again is a really high bar, by the way.
Oh, sure.
And towards the end of Justice League the Animated Series, they had everyone in that show. So I mean, if they're going to reuse characters like not just like the B-list characters or like kind of every other list characters from that show, they were going to put their distinct stamp on, like pretty much bring from the comics with a more kind of mix between campy and self-referential view of it in there. And that's what they did for a lot of these characters. And the premise is it's based off the comic somewhat, Batman Brave and the Bold. And in that book, it's pretty much Batman teams up with a hero from the DC universe, and that's the series premise. Batman teams up with a different hero each episode.
Oh, okay. So this episode was Tornado Man, or the Red Tornado.
Yeah, Red Tornado.
And so is this like the only episode he appears in?
Well, no, I shouldn't say just like they reappear. I'm just saying like they get introduced in an episode and they can come back to it. But I'm just saying
okay, that's clever. That's clever.
It's like a different hero is in each episode, and also they can reappear too, but like a different scenario.
Right.
You know? It's like always like Shane's always keeping interesting, and also usually, I mean, I don't know if there are certain exceptions, but pretty much for all the episodes, to my recollection, they open with a little teaser of another team up that kind of thematically somewhat ties into it, or if not, so then just a little random fun teaser at the beginning. Then you get to the episode's plot with another team up, which we do see.
Oh wow! Okay, that's really
that's why we get Blue Beetle in the beginning. That's why we get Red Tornado later on.
Yeah.
Get a little opening teaser. Anyway, so yeah, and this I just want to give all credit before we go forward. James Tucker was a guy who he worked on Justice League and pretty much Justice League Batman Beyond. He put his stamp on the DC universe after he joined up and everything. But this show is pretty much his brainchild. You know, a lot of points that James Tucker for kind of saying, look, we don't need to just replicate Batman the Animated Series. It's a fantastic show. We don't need to do that or just do more Justice League. Let's spice it up. You know, let's just celebrate this wonderful universe we have to play in. And he really kind of embraced that, pretty much freed everyone, all these creative talents to kind of come in, like Paul Dini and all these other fantastic writers, and even like Bob Goodman and all these from the animated shows, but also from comics too. Just kind of come in and just kind of help infuse that loving thing that the writers as kids themselves saw when they were reading the pages and bringing it to animation.
Yeah, just really quickly, I just got to mention, I think this would have been a better, I don't necessarily think that the Batman movies should have been, totally campy after the Nolan films.
But they could have used one-liners and stuff.
But just judging by the Batman v Superman trailer alone, just judging by that, it really kind of annoys me how it's and especially, of course, I have my issues with Man of Steel, just basically let's just copy and paste the Dark Knight formula and insert it into Superman. That'll work perfectly.
And it's very interesting. This was the show that was around during the Dark Knight, actually.
Well, there you go. That's kind of funny because it's just radically different things, and then the Dark Knight, I feel, cast its own kind of shadow over Batman.
And again, another thing with the show is it was, kind of directed towards kids, but again, they were smart enough to realize, let's not just aim towards kids. Let's just do kind of the brilliant thing of Batman Animated Series and all the other kind of great animated shows. Both parents and kids can watch it.
Sure, I mean, and especially if you were around during the Silver Age, this has got to be just a treasure trove for fans of that era.
Again, that was one point that again, the show is not just completely campy; it's really smart and really witty. So it's more it's fun and referential more than campy. Just it's not just the Adam West show put the animation. As cool as that might be, it's not just that. It's kind of in the spirit of that, but also just factoring all the stuff you didn't see on the '60s show, but a little even smarter than it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty smart.
Okay, so with that in mind, do you want to kind of just go through our recap?
One last thing, this only highlights just the only background I really have on this episode who directed and wrote it. We had Brandon Viti as the director of this, and he famously he's directed a lot of DC animated stuff. Particularly, his big crowning achievement, he directed Batman Under the Red Hood, the animated movie. That's
nice.
He worked on another show that kind of came after this, Young Justice, which is pretty good. He also he does a lot of character designs and directing, so he's also kind of designed characters for Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, Justice League Doom. He's done a lot of work, and he's also again directed episodes of this and the Batman. So the guy's got a long laundry list of credits to his name.
Okay.
And a writer, I haven't met the guy, but I've contacted the guy. Really nice. Adam Beechant is the writer of this episode. Fantastic writer. He's written three or four Batman Beyond stories not of late, but a few years, a year or two ago, and he did fantastic work. Guy's a really great writer. He wrote this one.
Okay, cool.
That's all I got, sir.
All right, to start the episode off, it's what is the name of this tournament? Something about Christmas bowling, the Gotham annual Christmas bowling tournament.
Exactly. We get a lot of fun absurdity in this show too. So basically, it's a bowling tournament around Christmas time, and it's interrupted by the Sportsmaster.
Oh, yes.
And by the way, the Sportsmaster, I don't want to just sound timely or anything, but, Tom F. Wilson, he's a regular for, animation. He's done a lot of voices in SpongeBob, but also he's done a lot of voices in Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, sorry. Yeah, and he's, Tom F. Wilson is, don't you, Tiki?
Name doesn't sound familiar, actually.
Biff from Back to the Future. So kind of tying in with
okay.
So just vaguely tying in with the 30th anniversary today. Biff is in this episode, so yeah.
Why are we doing a Back to the Future podcast today?
Those are questions we don't want to bring in, Tiki. No, folks, seriously.
I'm just saying.
We're saving something for down the line on the actual day. All the time travel happen. You'll see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
You'll see, folks. Let's just say it'll be a ride you will enjoy. Anyway. You're laughing like the Santa in SpongeBob.
I guess. Sure, let's go with that.
Anyway, okay, so Sportsmaster, voiced by Tom F. Wilson, he crashes the bowling tournament. He wants to win the prize. And first of all, I just love that. The way Tom F. Wilson plays a Sportsmaster, he plays him like a gym coach, just announcing bowling as a sport. It's like, bowling's not a sport, but if you want, I'm gonna win it. I'm not gonna just steal it though. I'm gonna win it fair and square. And then you see the great campy visual.
Just human beings in giant bowling pins.
Giant plastic bowling pins. Oh my!
Oh, it's great.
A bowling pin.
I mean, I could totally see this in the Adam West show.
I would love it if on Daredevil the Kingpin tried something like this.
Vanessa, look what I set up for you, Vanessa. It's your own bowling alley.
With my enemies inside the pins.
You have human bowling pins, Vanessa.
Okay, right. So anyway, so Batman swoops in. So basically, Batman swoops in, saves people from being bowled to death, and he also has we get some great kind of witty puns in this show, of like him saying, "I expect you to be in some gutter of some kind." Basically, makes a gutter ball pun to the guy, which is pretty funny. Okay, but Batman's not alone here because a Sportsmaster's just saying like, "Oh, you're outnumbered," and then thankfully, again, the spirit of the show here, backup swoops in the form of Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, specifically. So yeah, Blue Beetle, Tiki. Blue Beetle essentially is this version.
I've definitely heard of him. He's definitely a character I know about to a certain extent.
There are actually 3 versions of Blue Beetle.
That's what I know about him. I know that there's a lot of different versions of him. That's pretty much all I know.
Yeah, he's one of those legacy characters. He's a cool character, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to see him on Arrow, but unfortunately, it looks like DC might actually have movie plans for him, but we'll see.
Well, I was gonna say it sounds like DC could kind of do the equivalent of Ant-Man with him if they wanted to.
Well, no, Tiki's not. The Atom's the Ant-Man version of.
Well, no. I'm not saying in terms of the power. I'm saying just in terms of how Ant-Man is a movie about about cross-generational superheroes and everything like that.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm saying if they wanted to get into a somewhat obscure character that's still mainstream enough to be known to a certain audience and has a lot of history that you could work with, I think he'd be a good guy.
So basically, in a nutshell, Blue Beetle idea is it's just a guy who basically it's kind of it's a non-Bat version of Batman essentially, but it's basically just a purely gadget-based scientist puts on a costume and he helps out because he inherited a fortune. And the later version, the most popular version of Ted Kord, I believe, I could be wrong. I'm not a huge Blue Beetle guy, but I mean, he sounds really interesting. I do love kind of the idea of the character. I believe he finds the reason it's a blue beetle is because he found, in ancient Egypt, again being a rich guy, or an archaeologist. I think the older version was an archaeologist. They find a blue scarab beetle, and that blue scarab beetle actually ties into an alien thing, where it's an alien. It's a piece of alien technology, an actual. It's based on a culture that uses a blue scarab technology as an armor suit, like an Iron Man suit that forms on your back, like symbiote mixed with an Iron Man armor. You know what I mean?
Oh wow! Huh.
Basically, and that's how you see a bit of in this episode. So Jaime Reyes is the most popular version because he's this young kid. He gets the thing put on his back, and it's like a symbiote. It won't come off. And basically, he can.
So that explains how the suit can talk to him.
Yeah, basically, the suit communicates with him like R2-D2, and people think he's crazy because they can't hear it, but he basically can understand the thing, and basically, it'll form around him. He can form almost any weapon around him, whatever he needs. But again, he's kind of in conflict with the suit, so sometimes it doesn't turn out that well. Mm-hmm. But he's a real interesting, real fun character, and the best thing about Brave and the Bold is he's voiced by. Will Friedle, one of the fantastic voice actors. Will Friedle is Blue Beetle, but also he's Terry McGinnis Batman, which kind of another suit dynamic in itself.
There you go.
And again, he has Batman credentials, and Will Friedle also Unstoppable from Kim Possible. I love the guy to pieces, and he will soon be Star-Lord on a show I'm really hoping will not completely suck.
All right, so I love the moment when he's kind of grappling with his suit, and I think he kind of he knocks the Sportsmaster over. So he does something, and then the people in the bowling pins just kind of politely applaud, like they give him a golf clap.
Yeah, he throws henchmen of the Sportsmaster into the bowling alleys, and they knock down perfect strikes in their bowling. He goes, "Hey, you got a strike, yeah!" And I gotta tell you, one of my favorite parts of this episode, at least in the teaser, again, it's just I love Batman. Sportsmaster somehow he launches bowling balls at him, and Batman just punches directly at the bowling balls and they smash. I love that.
I can punch a bowling ball because I'm the goddamn Batman.
Pretty much. I mean, look, if I want to be technical, like I know the Arkham versions of Batman could do this because they have the armor, and like I don't care. I mean, this version of Batman's like the version who's done everything around the world. I don't put it past my mind that he would be able to like find the fracture point of a bowling ball while it's going in there, or he's just strong enough to punch it in this right spot, or he has like metal underneath his gloves. I don't know. I don't care. It's awesome. Anyway, so in the end, Batman foils the Sportsmaster in an awesome way yet again. He throws a bowling pin to trip him up again. Let's see Kingpin do that, man. That'd be awesome. But let's see him fight Daredevil in a bowling alley. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, now I'm just don't make me whip out my "There Will Be Blood" impression, okay? Because I'm very close to.
Okay, point is, so Batman foils Sportsmaster with a bowling pin, and it's awesome. Blue Beetle, at the end, they is saved, the Sportsmaster's full, and then Blue Beetle, importantly, he invites Batman, because he's a nice guy, and he idolizes. That's the thing with Blue Beetle also, is that he looks up to Batman. Batman's kind of his mentor. He invites Batman to Christmas dinner, but then Batman says, thank you, Jaime, but crime doesn't take a holiday.
And neither do I.
Yeah. Crime doesn't take a holiday, and neither do I. And by the way, in case you're curious, that's D. Bradley. That's Diedrich Bader as Batman.
Okay, he's really good.
I
think he kind of gets he works a really good balance of being like serious and also kind of campy at the same time.
I think he's a great Silver Age Batman. I really do.
Okay, so then we get the intro and then the title screen, and then it's let's go to one of our holiday tropes, BlueDragonFive. Let's break out the holiday tropes.
Okay.
So I think one of the holiday tropes we have is just a scene that's simply just setting up the Christmas mood, and so seeing people building snowmen and Christmas trees and everything like that. So we get a quick little establishing shot of that, a little holidays in Gotham. Deck the Halls is playing on piano, so that's nice. That's always a good thing to look for in Christmas specials, just mood setting. Very nice. Like how much does it really feel like Christmas?
Certainly. Okay, so then we meet, and I really hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, because again, it's been a while since I've really seen this episode, but Professor Althon.
Okay.
Again, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that. I didn't really look up, I know very little about Red Tornado, so I mean, I'm not sure what the...
Is this a guy who's not in many episodes?
Well, no. Again, he comes back. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying
he comes back, but I'm saying he's not really a major reoccurring character. I'm guessing
not a major one, but I mean he's present a lot. He'll be there.
Okay.
I'm saying you don't get like the whole Red Tornado show all the time. It's like
right.
Like I know very little about the alter ego here. So the Professor alter ego of Red Tornado, I believe, Althon, which is kind of funny if it's kind of a parody of Ultron, but I could be wrong. Anyway.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
And you'll love this. You know who voices Red Tornado, don't you?
No, who?
Corey Burton.
Corey Burton. Okay. Nice.
No one does a robot voice better than Corey Burton, truly.
Anyways, the second incarnation of Paul Frees.
Yes. Anyway, so Professor is teaching an archaeology class, which, by the way, I really love that idea that, being a robot, he has all these statistics in his mind. Of course he'd be good at kind of looking into things. And I love the idea that the personality of the machine has gotten a little blurred, so he actually has an interest in this, or at least he views it that way. So he's an archaeology professor, and pretty much the student's asking him, like, hey, is it really exciting being an archaeologist? Pretty much asking him, is it like being Indiana Jones like the movies? He says, no, Billy, it's not like the movies.
It's mostly reading books and research.
Yeah. Anyway, so then he hears, here's some stuff going on. He excuses himself to save some kids in peril, about to be hit by a car. And again, kind of, he swoops in. He does like kind of the weird, the face peeling thing. So it's been a while since I forgot this part of the episode, just when you see the alter ego, but I've seen the rest. I've seen the rest of it. That's what's in my mind. This, anyways, it was interesting to see. Oh yeah, he's an archaeology professor. It's really interesting.
Right.
So he does the weird face peeling thing. And he basically swoops into action. He does some tornadoes to get the car out of the way, and he saves the kids nick of time. And he has like a nice PSA traffic safety moment. Basically, he swoops in, saves the kids, takes them to their father, and he says, "If I were you, I'd lecture them on the tell your children again about traffic safety. I'd remind them of their traffic safety skills, or something along those lines. I don't know. And also, now this is interesting. This is like, to me, this is the clever writing of the clever conceit of the show, is that they're not going campy, like they're poking fun at it. That the line delivery on this is intentionally hokey.
Sure.
Because they're saying like, this is a way to get you in. This is no way to get into the Christmas spirit. Christmas spirit? This Red Tornado doesn't really get Christmas spirit. He's a robot, and then the kid's kind of so meanly, but again, so happy-go-luckily. Again, so hokey. They're saying, "Oh, that's silly. It's because you're just a robot."
You're a robot. You can't experience feelings.
Yeah, it's just so cruel. It's so backhandedly cruel. It's like, well, yeah, you just saved our lives, and thanks, but of course you can't feel Christmas. You're just the silly.
Be gone with you.
It's like silly tricks are for kids moment for him almost. It's literally saying, don't be silly. You're just a robot. And I was like, oh my god, it's so cruel.
Now I've come to understand that tricks are made specifically for children.
Okay, moving on. So kind of another Christmas kind of part of the scientific Christmas process here. Red Tornado, he doesn't quite get the Christmas spirit.
It's, to me, it was basically like a carbon copy of the Martian Manhunter plot from the Justice League one.
Yeah, which they actually do a few kind of Martian Manhunter. Again, they had the Martian Manhunter in here, but it was like towards the end where they kind of thought they could bring in the big guns at that point.
Sure.
Like they really humanized the Martian Manhunter in that show. Like he was a guy who just like under a lot of stress. He ate Oreos when he stress ate, which is pretty funny. And anyway, so this version, like there's also like an episode down the line where he has a son and it really hits him hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically he builds a son to know what it's like to have a child, and then the son turns into a supervillain. It really crushes him.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's really a powerful episode. Anyway, and like Batman's there as the Godfather. It's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, so Red Tornado, you can't get in the Christmas spirit. That, of course, is like kind of a landmark of like your characters who just can't quite get into the spirit, even though they want to. Like Charlie Brown, even. Come on.
Yeah, it's definitely different from the Scrooge. Do you think Batman's the Scrooge in this?
Well, given his character, I would say, yeah, he's the Scrooge, because he has this. Again, I don't mean Batman's the most generous guy on the planet. Come on, but you know what I mean.
Right, of course.
For the episode's purposes, he is the Scrooge. He has a character arc, and he comes to it by the end. Anyway, so logically, Red Tornado, what's he going to do next? He educates himself. He decorates. He decorates the place. He walks by a Christmas store and uses tornado things to decorate really quickly. He's putting on Christmas sweaters. But, something's missing. Something's missing.
Yeah, and then we see him at a blackboard, and he's like trying to get the formula of the Christmas spirit, and I'm like, Jack Skellington.
So again, just like the rare thing, literally what we're trying to do here, going to find the scientific process of a Christmas special. There, we get another element here of the character just trying to figure out as clinically and scientifically as possible what's his next step. Caroling, and so Red Tornado, again, he's a robot, so bear in mind, he has his human face on and everything. He's just like singing, like, what is it? Do you remember what he's singing? It's like Jingle Bells.
Oh, do I have it on my notes? I don't think I do.
One is he's singing a Christmas Carol, and there's it's all metallic-y, and it's the same, by the way, it's the same family. It's the same kids and the same father he was talking to earlier that crushed his dreams.
And then they just slammed the door right in his face.
Yeah, and by the way, I love the fact that it's so sad that Red Tornado doesn't really know anyone, so he figures, well, I'm going to convince those people. I'm going to go to those people I saved earlier, because they're kind of, they're my reference point for this. I'm going to see if I can swing them on this. Mm-hmm. And then they slam the door in his face. And I love, my feeling just gets expressed on screen when the Red Tornado goes, aww.
Aww.
I feel so poor Red Tornado.
All right. So then we have, like I said, we have him in his little lab with his blackboard, and then like on the TV, it's like, is it supposed to be It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a parody of It's a Wonderful Life, and then I love this bit. This bit's such a Garfield like it's like such a comic. It's like a Sunday strip bit. I love this so much. Like the TV's talking. It's like classic, just like well, do you want basically it's like, you want to know the spirit of Christmas, what the Christmas spirit is, Billy? The meaning of Christmas spirit is, Billy? And then Red Tornado's going, Yes. And then it
Yes, elaborate, please.
and then it goes like cuts because there's emergency broadcast going on. You know, there's an interruption. Simply, I'm like, oh, poor Red Tornado. It's like the meaning of life is the meaning for the secret to eternal life is click. So basically, the interruption here is tell us what it is. What's the alien? What's this thing?
It's an alien invasion.
And what are the demands of the alien? We cut to some footage of these aliens in black and white, mind you.
Oh, I don't know. Remind me. I don't have it in my notes.
They demand Santa.
Right.
Essentially. So anyway, so then we see in response to this, Batman is doing his part to help fend off these, basically a flying saucer attack by these so-called aliens. And Red Tornado, in classic Brandon Bold fashion, he helps out, swoops in. That's how we get our episodes up and running. They team up. Yeah, they're taking down a bunch of these flying saucers, and they're having some banter here as like Red Tornado's trying to analyze what these guys are from, if they're actually who they say they are. And basically, they mentioned they were like from Neptune, and then Red Tornado picks up, uses again, importantly, the archaeological knowledge here, which I like. Now that little runner, again, he's a big statistics book almost. Right. He says, "Oh, Neptune's uninhabited." And I love the idea that being in the DC universe and knowing there are alien worlds out there, it's like they rule out. Well, yeah, we know which planets are inhabited, which aren't inhabited. Again, they have the Green Lantern Corps. How would they not know? Yeah. So basically, Neptune's uninhabited, so this is a hoax. So we'll cross-reference the name of the aliens, and pretty much you get one reference from a 1954 holiday film called A Holiday for Neptune. And basically, it's kind of a parody of there's this movie called like Santa Claus and the Martians, like Santa Claus.
That's what I thought. I thought there was going to be a reference to that.
Yeah, it's like a tongue-in-cheek reference to like the science fiction crossing over Santa Claus,
Right.
If there's a 1954 film, I'm sure that's close to when the.
We need to review that at some point.
I don't know.
Come on.
I'll think about it. I don't know.
Come on.
Okay, so let's see. So then they find in the wreckage of shipping, and Batman using his detective skills here. He looks at it. Well, this is plastic. These spaceships are plastic and they're custom made. We'll never be able to find it. Then Batman using his detective skills. He looks in there. Well, no, there's a label here, a custom label. I recognize this. And then we see the guy appear. It's Fun House.
Yeah,
so Funhouse is a weird case. Again, I'm pretty sure I don't have all the facts here. Essentially, they wanted to distance themselves from using the big guns like Superman, and Toyman is a Superman villain, and essentially this guy is Toyman.
Okay.
So the idea is they just kind of wanted to use Toyman without actually using Toyman. Why? I don't know. Again, probably because they didn't want to use Superman that much in the universe yet.
So his design very much reminds me of a Blue Meanie, especially with those the circles on the cheeks.
Oh yeah. So basically, Funhouse is just kind of, as far as we can tell, he's like a living toy.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we can tell, Points is like either that or a really weird-looking plastic-headed guy. Right. So I love this. So like, Funhouse is like just saying like what has he done wrong or something. Then Red Tornado is really going by the book, listing every offense and like one by one. It's really hilarious. And then he says like, Batman just, "Oh, not now, Tornado."
Not now, Tornado.
It's really funny. So then with basically Funhouse, he says, "Okay, this is just the beginning," and he throws an exploding baby doll. And by the way, that is actually a reference to Baby Doll.
I was going to ask. Yeah, I have it in my notes. I picked up on that.
Actually, a little reference to her.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then basically exploding doll, what do they do? Use Red Tornado's talent there to basically do an altitude disposal. Lift it way up in the air. We're all saved. Yeah.
For some reason, I really love Batman's delivery of, "It's a bomb." I don't know why. It's just really fun. It's like, "It's a bomb."
It's a bomb.
He says it very matter-of-factly.
It does. Okay, so then, after they dispose of the bomb there, they deduce that, Funhouse has an evil plan here, and it looks like he's going to try to ruin Christmas. And I love this. With Red Tornado, all the sincerity and all the importance in the world, says, he cannot ruin Christmas! Because, again, this means a lot to him, because he wants to know what the meaning of Christmas spirit is. He wants to know what that feeling's like. Of course, no Christmas spirit. And again, Batman's asking him, like, well, why do you care about Why do you care about this so much? And basically, Red Tornado is saying like he hasn't experienced this before, and he's just wondering like what that Christmas spirit's like. He wants to know something he's never experienced, and Batman says, "Ah, don't worry about it. It's overrated.
It's overrated.
It's overrated." And then there's a really sweet. Here's probably the sweetest bit of the episode, almost.
It really is. Yeah, I mean the reaction from Batman is priceless.
This is the reason I recommended we did this episode. This is my favorite part of it. This is why it's just stuck to me. It's like one of the ultimate Christmas Batman moments. It's just Red Tornado says again. Red Tornado guy doesn't quite get the holiday spirit yet, but he's trying everything he can. He can recognize what the gesture is. So he says, "It looks like I'm not the only one who lacks it. Maybe this can help us both." Gives him a little box, a little green purple box. Opens it up. And inside the gift is a mug saying "World's Greatest Detective." That is the sweetest thing I can imagine for Batman. I mean, come on. Anyway, so then Batman has this moment of like, "Well, I didn't get you anything." Then Red Tornado hits with the whole. It's not about giving; it's about receiving.
Sure.
It's not about receiving. It's what is it?
It's not about. I don't know. We're both drawing a blank on it. It's funny.
It is about giving, isn't it? Because he's giving him the gift.
I don't know. There's a very common saying that you and I are both blanking.
I'm pretty sure it's about give. No, I know what it is. It's giving, not receiving. That's what it is. It's all.
There you go.
It has to be. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Anyway, so then we have a.
Our brain just kind of had a brain freeze there. A double brain freeze.
A Christmas brain freeze. In July. It's really an anomaly. Okay, so then we get a
freeze. Chill.
Okay, so then we get a flashback to Christmas at Wayne Manor.
Oh yeah.
This is within the final year of the Wayne's life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Batman, he's using his detective skills. He's like, well, based on the dimension and weight of this package, I think I know exactly what it is.
So you gotta tell you, it's pretty cute that a young Bruce Wayne just kind of coming down our ears can be just to figure out what the gift is rather than opening. I think it's kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
And like you got the Thomas and Martha Wayne in the background there. It's kind of like looking all nice and everything. Just like this thing. Yeah, it's Christmas time. He's always eager at Bruce.
I love how Alfred has such a role in this episode, and he doesn't speak one line.
Well, that's the power of Alfred, Tiki.
Oh, sure. All right. So like I was saying before, of the whole establishing atmosphere thing, we get another really good. Or wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead a little.
All right, so then if I'm correct here, so then again, it's about giving, not receiving. Then Red Tornado says, "Well, there's this tingling sensation. I'm not feeling it yet." And then Beth says, "Well, if you're feeling tingling, you see a repairman."
Yeah. And now, we get more atmosphere building. So we have lights and trees and snowmen and snowballs, and it's fantastic. And what better way to accompany a BlueDragonFive than with Christmas music on a saxophone? God damn it! Which
I'm not saying it's a direct reference, but we also got that in the Christmas with the Joker.
Of course.
Oh, by the way, just before we go over, before we go past it too much, don't forget Batman's kind of set up here as kind of our Scrooge. You got some Christmas trauma. That's kind of one of our variables in the Christmas formula here. Right, someone with holiday trauma who needs to get over it, a.k.a. our Scrooge. And really nice to set up with like a series of flashbacks here. So he gets a gift, he's remembering opening a gift on Christmas. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, anyway, so then we're met by a plastic Santa face.
Oh yeah.
Basically a Santa Claus with a definitely plastic face, and then the kids are talking to it, and basically trying to talk to Santa Claus, and he's non-responsive, and the creepiness is setting in. They're in a sleigh, by the way.
Yeah, it is rather unsettling.
Yeah. And also, meanwhile, let's see if we're correct here. We got Batman and Red Tornado talking as they're kind of searching for some clues to Funhouse. They're looking around for the guy. And pretty much like Red Tornado's asking, "Why do you dislike Christmas?" And he says, "I don't dislike Christmas. I dislike crime."
I dislike crime. That sounds like such a Will Arnett Batman thing to say.
Man, this guy's probably the precursor to a Will Arnett style Batman. This guy would have had that. Okay, by the way, you saw Will Arnett in the Batsuit at the Oscars, right?
Oh, of course, of course.
Making sure. I'm sorry. Sure. Anyway, so then we see another Santa Claus running around. And I love this idea. It's kind of like a '60s slant on it. Like if there's a drunken, disorderly Santa Claus, at least Batman thinks.
Twilight Zone.
It's funny. Like there's Santa Claus running around and he's kind of stumbling about, and then basically Batman treats him like a drunken, disorderly person. You've had a little too much eggnog, which again is really smart. It's a clever reference to make on a kid's show.
Mm-hmm.
So without saying drunken disorder, just saying, well, he's had a little too much eggnog. And then basically they find it's a Santa Claus, and he just made my naughty list. That is not Santa.
Santa is not meant to behave in this manner.
Yep, it's a robot, and it's not just a robot. There's a lot of Santa robots.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And then I love how what's the guy?
Red Tornado?
No. Funhouse. He's like, oh, that won't give kids nightmares, will it?
And then also, there's a really funny running gag in this. We have whenever the Santa in the chaos right now, we see there's this one screaming lady. I believe it's like red hair, green dress, or something like that. Now you'll notice she is reused in the episode 3 times. The exact woman. She's in like 3 different scenes, and she's just doing exactly. She's like screaming like when things go south.
So then we get the the Santa invasion, and I love the monotone ho 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 ho. And
right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was about to say they're doing some pretty traumatic stuff, including just stealing teddy bears and then ripping their heads off.
Yeah, pretty much just ripping and destroying toys.
Right.
Anyways, then we have this really one of another great bits of this episode for me. You have the kids are under attack now. They're in a runaway sleigh. It's really scary. The kids are in the sleigh, it's running away, you got Santa Claus in there, and then, of course, what's an awesome moment? I love when Batman saves people. Batman jumps on a reindeer, he hurries up to the kids, and he saves them from a deranged Santa Claus in a sleigh. And first of all, that
I need to find Batman riding the damn reindeer and use it as the thumbnail, because that is an awesome image.
Well, Batman riding the reindeer, pretty cool, but then I love just him kind of swooping in saving the day for kids from Santa. It's like 2 icons and fighting each other. It's pretty funny.
Right.
Batman versus Santa Claus. And then the fact that Batman, it's a robot, so Batman, this doesn't violate any rules Batman has. He hits him and the head comes off, and then the best line of the episode happens. And then, Santa Claus, the robot body, falls to the ground. The kids are looking in shock because they've just been through a traumatic experience. And then there's, Batman just looks to him and says, pretend you didn't see that.
Pretend you didn't.
Again, this Dietrich Bader Batman, he can get away with more funny lines like that. It's really cool.
I really want to start watching the show now because this is really amusing stuff.
Again, I'll tell you and the folks that the best episode is Chill of the Night. That's the one you want to start. It's the most serious episode, but still probably the best episode.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's see. So then, what do we got next?
Oh, let's see.
I didn't see that.
Well, I think we have. Don't we have a flashback now?
Not yet. We have I remember the transition. But there's something before the transition where Red Tornado is doing something. But something about someone mentions it's Xmas. It's a Christmas miracle. It's a Christmas miracle or something.
I need to write more specific notes because. All I have in my notes is pretend you didn't see that.
Yeah.
Tornado. Oh no, pretend you. Okay, tornado saves them from falling.
Yeah, that's okay. I remember in that. I remember the bit. Okay, so then basically the kids Batman says, pretend you didn't see that. They say, look out! Because they're about to fall off a high structure or something. They fall and then they're caught. And it's the sleigh looks like it's flying, and the kids say it's a Christmas miracle. But then we see it's a red tornado saving them. That's the bit. That's
Okay.
Okay, so then after they save the kids again, awesome bitch. Batman saving children. That's always pretty cool in my book. We see a father and his son he's crying over oh no, the horror, and then I said, well, what's wrong? He says, oh, he's just crying over this action figure because basically Turbo Man. So this guy has his own Jingle All the Way going on right now.
Exactly.
It's totally sold out. It's really hard to get, and then we have a flashback to Christmas Day at the Wayne Manor, and let's just say, as many things in Bruce Wayne's youthful life, they don't go as planned. So. the Waynes, Bruce opens his gift, and it's a really nice gesture. It's like this real kind of ancestral nutcracker. It's like it belonged to Thomas Wayne's father, so Bruce's grandpa. Opens it up, and then after he just realizes it wasn't, even after Thomas Wayne is telling him what it is, it belonged to your grandfather. It's an heirloom, it's really important to us. It's really cool. And basically, Evan says he wanted Bruce says he wanted the swashbuckler. Pretty much, Bruce Wayne was in like swashbucklers and Zorro type guys, pretty much. And I think sometimes there are like really weird rights issues. I'm not sure if they can't say Zorro, but they can show the word Zorro.
That's kind of odd.
Don't quote me on that. That might be a thing where they just wanted to stress the point to the kids who may not know who Zorro is as a swashbuckler. So again, it might not. Sure. There are some really weird rights cases with that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so then Bruce is upset he didn't get the swashbuckler he wanted. He throws the nutcracker, a little bit of a dramatic move, but I mean, I'm with them. I'm seeing what they're going for here. He throws the nutcracker against the wall, breaks it. Oh, really sad. The look on Thomas Wayne's face of this utter sadness. I mean,
it's great.
Poor Thomas Wayne. He feels like he dropped the ball. He really did. And poor Alfred, too. Alfred, like, holding the pieces of the thing, putting it on a tray, and that comes back big time later on.
Again, Alfred has a ton of significance without a line of dialogue.
Yeah, and in this moment, too, we got another kind of piece of the Christmas morning. I'm not sure if we got any of this last year. I might be wrong, but we get kind of the overreaction, kind of wrecking Christmas moment.
Oh, I'm sure we've got it.
I mean, maybe.
If I can remember.
I'm not sure if Howard Cunningham kind of counts because he just said he wanted the Christmas alone, but then he just instantly snapped out of it. I don't know.
Right.
But, the point is, I'm saying there are better, like in cinematic history, is like the whole thing where the kid destroys the ice sculptures. Everything's ruined! That thing. But you know what I mean. It's like, you get the moment like you, ruining Christmas, smash, rosebud, that sort of thing. Okay, so then basically the Funhouse sends a message to him saying there's one more surprise to come. Find the bomb. Basically, there's one more surprise to come. It's going to be a big thing, big one. It's going to be a bomb, and they're on a hunt for a bomb in the city. Mm-hmm. So Red Tornado and Batman, they're on their search, and they find out it's a wild goose chase, according to Red Tornado.
That was his deduction.
Yes, and it's the whole thing was a distraction. But for what? Christmas morning. That's what.
Oh no.
So it's Christmas morning, and then we flash back to if we couldn't think of that Christmas memory being traumatic enough, let's just top it. Let's just go to the most traumatic moment. How can we make the most traumatic moment in comics history just a little more traumatic? We flash back to the night Thomas Wayne, being the nice guy that he is, he realized he and Martha, they dropped the ball on Christmas. They didn't get him what they wanted. They feel a little sad for that, trying to make up for it. They take him to a movie. They take him to Markazor, to a swashbuckler movie, Mm-hmm. And they saw a movie in place of the toy, and basically Bruce he's not swayed by. He still kind of holds a bit of I'm not anger, just kind of like disappointment of like
yeah.
It doesn't. It's kind of the sad moment too. He just looks down of like they kind of made up for it, didn't they? He just looks no. It's like you didn't give me my ad for Christmas. It's like you didn't give me my ad for Christmas. Smith, it's like.
Oh, God.
But seriously, sad moment coming up, and I love the way this is shot. By the way, absolutely no pun intended. But so then the Waynes they walk into the abyss, and we know this alleyway. When it said Markazor, I was like, oh.
Of course, yeah.
It's Markazor, this is not good. He walks into the shadows, and the way it's executed too, just like so. Every time they do the Wayne murder, it's always effective. No matter what setting, it's always going to be effective.
Mm.
You could have a Joel Schumacher animated series, and if you still had that moment, that moment would still be.
The Joel Schumacher animated series is actually a very interesting proposition.
Well, it's kind of. I don't want to get into the whole history of that stuff, but it's not. Yeah. Anyway.
Now I'm really intrigued. I want to look it up now.
Well, it's like they're working on some comics, perhaps, and anyway.
Okay.
So the point is that when they walk into the alley, it's in the abyss, dark abyss. You don't see anything. It's off screen in a brilliantly staged way, and then you see the two flash. It's in black and white, which is even better. Black and white animation really cool sometimes, a lot of the time. Mm. Bang, two white flashes. You hear them, and then just Bruce Wayne saying, "No," Lisa saying, "No, you daddy, ah." Doesn't
Yeah.
he say something? He yells. You know, it's like the
I
whole.
think he
No.
just screams.
You sure? I could have sworn he said something like. I don't
No, no, actually, no, you're right. I think he does say like mom, dad, or something.
Yeah, something like
yeah.
that. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I might be misremembering. You see it so many times, it blurs a little bit. But yeah, he
Right.
screams, "Mom, Dad, no!" Effective, really. I mean, seriously, I don't want to undercut it with some humor here, but seriously, really effective moment, really fantastically effective moment.
Mhm.
And then, of course, just kind of the retort here is like, uh, back to a red tornado in Batman's like getting what you wish for, and then like basically Batman saying, what sometimes what you wish for isn't what you can get. Sometimes what you want isn't something you can achieve or can never achieve,
Mhm.
like having your parents back. Or importantly, I think thematically with the episodes, taking back the moment you didn't mean. So
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, it's less about the death for Christmas time. I think it's more so about the last moments not being what he wanted them to be.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine that? It really just, like you said, just kind of twists the knife of the whole like Wayne murders. It's not only did it happen, but it's also happened under these circumstances where Bruce, he was let down, and he knew his parents were let down by letting him down, and blah 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 blah. There was all this kind of like pent up emotion in the air, and
Yeah, let me say something real quick about the parents' death, because this is my only kind of gripe with the episode. It's not even a gripe, it's just a nitpick, ultimately. Because again, this is early in the show, so things change throughout. Like they brought in more bigger guns from the DC universe, and subtle things change. Like another big kind of rule they had laid out was that aside from this flashback of young Bruce Wayne, you were never going to see under the cowl. You would never see Bruce Wayne in the show. And later on down the line, when they had certain stories, they brought Bruce Wayne into the picture now and again. They lifted up the mask. So, I mean, they've kind of swayed that rule, and when they did that, famously with, again, the episode I told you about, Chill of the Night, which is the big one, that episode is the whole episode's about the death of the parents. So basically, they kind of retcon this. That's the main idea.
Oh.
But again, that's more the reason for it. They had a good reason for it. They had Paul Dini adapting a famous story where Bruce Wayne comes in contact with a man that killed his parents.
Right.
So the point is, they were right in retelling the story, but again, just for what it was, if they were only going to do this once, because that was the intention, they were only going to do this once, and they weren't going to redo this specifically, but until they got the opportunity to, with a story like that later on. So, I mean, that's just a nitpick, though, because I think within the piece itself, self-contained, it works fantastically.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does.
I mean, for me, I'm never really uber crazy, but I respect it. Like, it's always interesting depending on how the writer does it, but it's always interesting and different when you see Bruce Wayne not be the Wayne family be the perfect thing it usually is,
Right, and I think it's especially effective just because this could be seen as like a standalone kind of Christmas episode, like a lot of Christmas episodes are, and so for that reason, I think it definitely works. And I'm not complaining about it because obviously I don't know the other episode. I'm curious to see the other episode, but
because there are like two in like comics, there are two Batman kind of retellings of the Batman tale where they kind of reimagine the Wayne family, the Wayne murder, as you can imagine, but it goes a little more like kind of negatively towards Bruce. Like Bruce is more of a spoiled brat in those, or like Thomas.
Right.
Either like Bruce Wayne's a spoiled brat, or Thomas Wayne's not as much of a loving father. He's more like kind of like a rich guy.
Oh, so like the Thomas Wayne on Gotham?
Well, well, again, they're saying
kidding.
he was a stoic.
Oh, he was a stoic. I'm sorry, that's right. He was a stoic. Whatever the hell that.
Well, it means he's like Gerard Butler. So, I'm kidding, but seriously, I mean, like sometimes it's a little, I kind of, because I'm used to it, I kind of gravitate more towards like the loving betrayal of the Waynes. But it's always interesting to see kind of like in this case, such a regret-filled last interaction with them. As in like the Earth One tales, like Bruce Wayne is kind of directly responsible for his parents' death when he like says, because he's a spoiled brat, he says to the killer, he says, "Hey, you know who I am? I'm Bruce Wayne," and yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't pan out well for him. Anyway, so again, I think they really do if they're going to do the death, I think they integrate it well into the story. Again, you always have to wonder if they have to make it all connected to the parents' death or change details, but for this case, self-contained really works.
Exactly. Like I said, just for a self-contained Christmas story, and Batman kind of having this Scrooge-like character arc, I think it really works.
I mean, to be fair, in some interpretations, it is set around Christmas time. Sometimes it's not. You know, but you can go back and forth sometimes.
Right.
Okay, anyways, let's see. So, Funhouse, they find Funhouse's logo on the Play Pals, basically the action figure the kid wanted. That's the big thing. Like, the big thing the kid was crying over earlier in the episode is like saying, "Oh, I can't get the action figure." Basically, the Turbo Man in this episode is the Play Pals. So I gotta tell you, it's kind of a lazy name, but it's fine.
Whatever.
No, Play Pals. Anyway, so they see Funhouse's logo on the thing, so they know, okay, that's his plan. He's somehow he's putting out these toys, and that's the big seller of this year. So all the kids have bought the Play Pals, so they're already implanted in the people's houses. And basically, the toys, small soldier style, I kid you not.
Yeah, I have that in my notes too. Yeah.
Because they kick out of the plastic packaging exactly like the small soldiers.
Right. It's
So
pretty uncanny.
It's actually kind of a brilliant plan when you think about it. You know, it basically has like these soldiers and these thieves playing at everyone's house, so they steal and lift like the valuables and the jewelry and the toys from the homes. I'm pretty sure he wants to like Grinch style wreck Christmas. Seriously, he wants to wreck Christmas. He wants to wreck Christmas and get rich.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anyways, basically, we see this kind of horrific sequence. Not horrific, but I mean, it's like kind of like terrifying if you were a kid. Like, oh my god, the toy I want, man, it's coming to life to kill me. Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, kind of Nightmare Before Christmas-esque in a way.
I'm sorry. I don't mean coming to life to kill me. Coming to life to ruin my Christmas. No. It takes all the gifts, takes Mom's necklace. I think it's just the pearl. Taking the necklace too, kind of similar. Maybe a loose connection to parents' death. Maybe.
I can see that. Yeah. Symbolism.
Vaguely. Okay, let's see. So lifting the valuables from the homes. Okay, so the toys. So then when the Batman and Red Tornado they try to foil this, the Play Pals, they form into a giant. Funhouse summons them, and they turn into a giant Play Pal armor of some kind, giant robot version of the Play Pals for Funhouse to control. Yeah, well, I mean, if I want to be technical, I could say like that big flash of lights, like nanites within the things combining. I don't know.
You know what? To tell you the truth, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the nanobots from Big Hero 6 in a way.
Well, I mean, again, now look, I'm not saying they are nanobots. I'm just trying to make sense out of it in some way. It's like a big old flash of light. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So then they form into a giant Play Pal robot, and then there's that screaming lady again. Red Tornado he faces Funhouse. It needs more power to like kind of breach the hull and kind of take down the armor. And so Red Tornado's like putting this all into this, a lot of his Red Tornado power to the extreme, and it's too much stress on his body. We see like crack, his armor his body is starting to crack, like energy starting to spark out of it. It's cracking his hull. He's feeling that tingling sensation. He has enough power to defeat. Basically destroy the robot suits, and then unfortunately, this moment here we got this is another moment why I want to do this episode. So the tingling, I feel the tingling sensation. I feel it, and then like Batman says, "What? Red Tornado, power down! You're using too much power." Back to the Future style almost. You don't want to get struck by lightning, Doc.
Oh god.
Basically, seriously, our wrenching moment here is Red Tornado says, "I feel the tingling sensation, the Christmas spirit." Blows up, and he's in pieces, and the head just literally goes flying by, and Batman catches the head, And don't worry, friend, we'll have you repaired.
All right.
Really nice bit. And then there's a sweet bit. I'm sorry, you want to take us through the sweet bit?
No, go for it.
So basically, this is the thing, Red Tornado. I'm sure. How did you react to this, Deke, when you saw Red Tornado blow up, and then the ending here where he's being?
Well, it's funny because it's like with me not being really like I didn't know if this guy was like a reoccurring character or if he was like a one-off character for this episode or what. So I don't know. In a way, I kind of I was expecting him to get rebuilt, kind of Iron Giant style, but. It's still, I thought there was a possibility that he might, that it might have been he gave the ultimate gift, which is he gave his own life to save other people, and that's how he experienced the Christmas spirit, and then he's dead now. And that's oh man, that would have been but I like how that idea is kind of implemented, and it's still kind of like, of course, he's a robot, so you can reconstruct him. But
yeah, because the first time I saw the Justice League, essentially he gets like split in half, and I was like, oh my god!
right.
But thankfully, again, that's the thing with Red Tornado. Like you realize that he can't be rebuilt. When I watched this, for a moment I forgot about it. And I kind of wish there was a bit more of a moment of pause, but like if you kind of took a moment to take it in, that oh my god, he blew up. But like, it's like instantly when he blows up, the head flies off, and Batman like picks up the head.
I think when Batman grabs his head, I think that's a pretty good kind of reflective moment.
Yeah, but I wish there was like just a moment of pause just to take it in for a moment that, oh my god, he sacrificed himself. But it's fine. He didn't sacrifice. So again, I love that. That's the word he got the Christmas spirit. He sacrificed himself to save Christmas, and that's what he did. He saved the day by self-sacrifice, and that's interesting.
Indeed.
He gave till it hurt, one could say. Well, at least until it cracked his hole and he blew up. So basically, Red Tornado's heading to Star Labs. So that's what happens to him. Whenever he blows up, he goes to Star Labs to be repaired.
Okay.
It's like someone will come, a team will collect him, and they'll bring him to Star Labs, and they'll just rebuild him, and he'll be fine. So for repair, and there's like this really sweet bit where Batman just says to him, "Merry Christmas, Red Tornado."
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's an amazing feeling. He says, "Well, Merry Christmas."
Yeah.
Really nice.
And so, I guess in this show we have an autopilot Batmobile. That's kind of cool.
Well, it's like actually they do kind of have a great later on when he teams up with the Joker for an episode. And again, if you can imagine the shenanigans, basically Batman's framed and he's on the run. He has to team up with Joker and doesn't like it at all. But they do an '89 callback where he's using even an older version of the Batmobile. And he talks into the thing and makes it stop, just like the movie when Vicky Vale was freaked out by it, because she's freaked out by everything in that movie.
Of course.
Manor just says, "Stop," and it just stops right there. And Joker's like, "Yeah, this is awesome, Batsy. You have the best toys." Anyway, so also the Batmobile in this show turns into a robot suit at times.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
It does. Okay, anyway, so he gets in the Batmobile, but there's something waiting for him. And again, all about the Batmobile means it probably went to the cave. While it was in the cave, maybe someone put a little something in there. Maybe.
Yeah. So he opens it up, and it's the Nutcracker from the Flashback. And then Batman knows instantly who it was. He's like, "Merry Christmas, Alfred."
Oh.
But then his what is it? Is it like a radar of like Batman a crime radar?
Yeah, it's like he hears like there's like a bulletin or a police scanner or something, and he he puts it on. He puts the box back. He puts the lid back on, or puts it to the side. Nutcracker, and he says, "Crime doesn't take a holiday, and neither do I." Really nice. That's Batman to a T. He took a moment to appreciate the holiday like he needs to do, but then he's off.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that's a pretty good way to sum up everything. And the fact that Batman kind of went through this whole this whole Scrooge arc in a way of like, "Oh, I don't like the Christmas spirit. It's overrated. Batman, I'm dark." And throughout the episode, through very kind of very intense self-reflection, he kind of gets it. He gets it just for a brief moment, but he's Batman, so he doesn't take a break for it. So BlueDragonFive, I think that's a perfect example of the Christmas spirit and the Christmas kind of formula, and I think you were right on the money with making the selection.
Oh, yeah.
So before we wrap it up, do you want to kind of tease the next Christmas in July offering, open up the next door on the Advent calendar?
Sure. Let's peek beneath the wrapping paper for a moment, if we will. Let's shake the box around. Let's deduce it like young Bruce Wayne, if we could. Well, I'm feeling past it right now. I'm feeling let's go back to the 50s, maybe. Let's
just like Back to the Future. There you go. Back to the Future. There's your Back to the Future tie-in.
So
1950s.
Yes, literally. So we're talking about one of the most beloved TV shows of all time, one of the most famous, basically the TV show that gave us all the ones down the line. I Love Lucy. We're gonna go back to some classic.
Oh yeah.
But I Love Lucy Christmas special.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be a really fun one. And it's going to kind of do a formula that we haven't talked about yet on Christmas in July, which is the clip show formula.
Yes.
So we'll get into that. And,
the package
you know, Blue
episode.
Dragon 5, Christmas in July, it's all about getting down to it. You know, it's all about just kind of examining and, like, you know, like the Red Tornado, kind of like getting our blackboard and our chalk and kind of just writing down the formulas and seeing how we can figure out what makes a good Christmas special.
How are we going to do that, Tiki? How do we do that process?
By putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope. Next time on Christmas in July.
Fa la la
la la la la la la. Pretend you didn't see that.
Christmas